There are public figures today, yesterday, and the day before predicting and all but calling for mass violence and rioting in the streets.
Obviously, Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore. Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore. Republicans are the biggest threat to democracy.
This means war. That is where we are. We are at war with these people. These folks are evil.
And all but calling for mass violence and rioting in the streets.
This means war.
If you wanted to think you need to have weapons to take on the government, you need F-15s and maybe some nuclear weapons.
We are at war with these people.
Well, welcome back. It is a special Monday edition of Sunday Night Live. It's the Zoo on the Prepared Mind channel. We're live here on YouTube, on the Prepared Mind channel. Well, no, thepreparedmind.club. Yes, indeed, our flagship website. And, of course, subscribestar.com. So you have two options to be a premium member. Folks, welcome back. The reason I put on that This Means War Joe Biden and media montage of hate against Americans is because, well, they've dusted off a relic of a retard. The Democrats have sprung a real intellectual onto the world to combat Republican thinking, and, well, it's none other than Joe Biden himself. That's right. The angry, fist-shaking Joe Biden has emerged from, well, a cave or under a rock or a bridge and is having a call to action. The Democrats having a call to action, folks. You know what that means? I think you do. That means, folks, that whole thing about this means war, that's what they mean. This is what Joe Biden said. This is not from that speech from way back when, this weekend, today. He says, "These are dark days. It's time to fight like hell." Right? That's what Joe Biden said. It's time to fight like hell. Sounds like a call to action. Sounds like Democrat partisan violence is going to be funded by George Soros, other non-government organizations, and the World Economic Forum. They do not like what's happening. Well, too bad for them. All right, let's see. I've got Darcy T waiting for another Darcy T post. And, oh, yeah, here we are. Oh, if you're on the Prepared Mind channel on YouTube, and it has the one with 80,000 subscribers, you can't do super chats there. You've got to go to the other Prepared Mind channel with 4.9 subscribers, because we got the old one back, and we were trying to figure out how to get everyone onto one channel, or they could just monetize the old one again. So YouTube still has us by the scrotum a little bit. Anyways, let's do this. Let's start right here with Dan the Man Erickson stepping up with a $5 super chat donation. Super chat button right up there, or you can use PayPal, Venmo, or CashApp. We do not have Uman. Uman is on the road. He is in the mobile command center, but he's in the captain's chair, not able to take everything. So I'm flying solo tonight. Flying solo. Don't have Jolene either. Anyways, thank you, Big Dan, for the great super chat donation and for welcoming me back. For those of you who know more than everyone else, whoosh, mum's the word. Throw the key away. I did put up a picture of the island I was on in a YouTube post. To kind of give you guys a clue. If you research that, you just might find where I went. My mother, dear old mom, funded a nice getaway for the family, and I love it. Anyways, Dan says, welcome back, John. Hope the family thing went good. Hey, guess what? I've got 2 more grandchildren on the way. Woo! That's good news. The bad news is I can't think of any bad news regarding that, except the world is a freaking mess. But Dan the man says, hey, I'm still at work. We'll watch the show later. Missed you, man. Well, I missed all of you guys. I missed the camaraderie. I missed the goofing off. I missed the informative and highly, if not entertainment, educational show we've got going here. So I've got a $50 super chat from Darcy T, and I've got a big super chat from Chin Music. Chin Music. And what did he do? Well, he did a very large $52.23. That's a $50 donation and a 223. So as soon as I get email/text from Chin Music, we'll go live. But let's start with something Darcy T sent me just the other day. Welcome back, one and all. And thank you again, Big Dan, for the donation and always being there to make it a great show. So, you're going to love this, folks. More super athletes down. One of Arnold Schwarzenegger's proteges, someone who studied under the Schwarzenegger, died, heart attack, cardiac arrest, age 42. Age 42. Surprised or not surprised? Well, I'm really not surprised. Nope, this is one for the Pfizer files, folks. Yes, Darcy says Indian bodybuilder dies suddenly at age 42. I think we know why. Well, Arnold said, you must get your shots. You got to go get them. Get your boosters. Screw your freedoms. I don't care if your feelings are hurt. Screw your freedom. Right? Remember that crap? And then he's apologized for it. Well, is Arnold going to start apologizing for everyone that he, by using his clout, his image, his commanding voice with an Austrian accent, is he responsible for people being killed? Or is he just another dupe in a long line of political dupes who will do anything they're told if they're paid, commanded, blackmailed, or extorted? In any event, thank you, Darcy T. Go ahead and shoot me by email, please. It's easier to get the email than the comments. Comments is tough. Get to the chopper, says Yankee Watchdog. Yes, indeed. I'll get back over to the comments as we go through this. I really wanted to say thank you. Oh yeah, 18-year Scotch. Any super chat donation, $50 or more, that also counts the $49.99 ones, buys me a 15-year single malt Scotch whiskey. And this, of course, is the Glenfiddich. Thank you so much, Darcy T, for taking good care of me. Ooh, that's mother's milk there. Taking good care of me, taking good care of the show, making sure we are funded, lighting, food, studio, internet equipment, hard drives, all of that stuff, everything. And you guys make sure this channel is awesome every single time. I got a special message here from Brother Corey. He says, buy more ammo. That's just sound advice. Especially from one traveling man to another. You bet. Buy more ammo, folks. When you need it, you need it. All right. Thank you. And let's see. What do we got here? There we go. Let's see what else is going on here. We've got Nancy Keg with a $20 super chat donation. Folks, the super chat button's right up there on the YouTube channel, or you can do PayPal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So Nancy writes, John, congratulations. Yes, on the new expectant babies coming. And I seen your dance lessons worked perfectly. Nice to have you here again, Semper Fi. And Semper Fi to you, Nancy. Keep it all under your hat. Some people know more than others. Why is John dancing? Well, got new grandkids coming. That sounds like a good reason to dance. Anyways, I appreciate it as always, Nancy. And let's see, folks, what is going on out there? In a lot of ways, I have to ask this question. What the hell is going on? I went away for a week. Was off grid, completely off. And I came back and the world is still insane. Well, what it made me realize is you don't have to follow everything for year after year after year after year after year to realize how screwed up things are. I was gone for a week. I came back and I noticed immediately how jacked up the world is, how incredibly screwed up the world is. You know, with Joe Biden coming out. These are dark days. It's time to fight like hell. They're calling for political violence, just like they called for it in in the Joe Biden video, right? It's unbelievable that they can do that. They can call for political violence, and we cannot. No, we can't. In any event, let's do this. Let's go back over here. I'm trying to run everything off. Anyways, that relic of a man is still here. And speaking of relics, Senator Chuck Schumer is a relic of his own right. He spent his entire career. He has been what? In politics. He's never worked in the private sector. How many of these Democrats are just that? They're terrorists from another country, terrorists from another culture, religion, belief system. They have no real world experience. They think they know everything. People tell them what to say like fucking puppets. Oh, you need to say this and that. Oh, okay, good idea, right? They're here. But I think the world is waking up to them. The world is crazy and the world's waking up to it. Schumer and his shutdown are failing. The world is waking up to it. Schumer's shutdown, that is the government shutdown. In case everyone didn't notice, the federal government is still shut down. But the meme videos and the meme pictures keep on coming. Folks, the Democrats are trying to blame this shutdown on Trump. They're trying to blame it on you and me. They're trying to blame everybody for them not getting, what is it, $1.5, $2 trillion? $1 trillion. Unbelievable. To give away to illegals. Well, they haven't been able to successfully blame Trump for the shutdown or blame us. And people are doing it. Democrats are getting the blame for this shutdown and any difficulties it's causing. And the 2026 elections, the midterm elections, aren't going to go well for them. But that's not enough. I want to encourage everyone to continue to send emails, text messages, comments, whatever it takes. Go to their website, the Republican website for Congress, that is the House and the Senate, and tell them to not give in to the Democrats. We don't need to give away another 4 months of government productivity. And I don't mean government, I mean government taxes that they collect from us. We don't need to spend 4 more freaking months of taxes funding illegals. Unbelievable. All right. Well, we've got Bioxo77 checking in with a $1.99 super chat donation. If you want to get on the screen, folks, I'll make you famous. Make you famous. Get you on screen, super chat button up there, whether you want to talk about the past, the future, current events. If you've got predictions about things around the world or just right here at home, it's up to you. You get to pick. So Bioxo says, Pfizer files, the chess champion kicked it suddenly. Well, okay, then. Actually, I have no idea. No idea who the chess champion is that kicked it. As in kicked off, kicked the bucket suddenly. Yeah, that's really not good, but it's happening, folks. The world is waking up to what's going on. I tell you, what a world. Thank you, Bioxo. So Schumer's shutdown, the Democrat shutdown, it's failing. We need voter ID and we need paper ballots and we need a hand count. Those are the 3 things we need: voter ID, paper ballots, and a hand count. tell every Republican that you can on the internet by calling on the Capitol switchboard, whatever it takes. And here we are, folks, a special Monday night live version of Sunday Zoo. And here we go. We've got another $50 super chat donation. That means another 18-year scotch right here. And I want to thank Robin for always being here, always joining in, always supporting us and giving us great topics. Okay, Robin, let's do this. Let's do cheers, salute, prost, and semper fi to one and all. All right, now I'm getting tuned up. She says, good to see you. I'd like to say that being prepped is a pain when it comes to moving. Wanted so bad to offload it all, and then I hear we may be headed into a food crisis and a war. I had to haul it all over again. If only people would just behave. Exactly. That is the problem. See, the problem isn't me and you. The problem's not us. Republicans, conservatives, Americans that know the U.S. Constitution, know the law, know our history, know our culture. We're not the problem. The problem is fucking communists. The problem is socialists. The problem is Islamists. The problem is any country, any culture, any tradition, any religion that does not work with the U.S. Constitution. It's out. It's absolutely out. They will not behave. They want to control us. They want to destroy us. They want to change us. They want to steal from us. They want to invade. They want us to pay for them. And I am not for it. I do not like any of these countries around the world, folks. Now, you're talking about food crisis and a war. Well, the Ukraine war. Right now, a massive number of Ukraine troops are absolutely surrounded by the Russians. And the question is, will they surrender? Or will they fight to the bitter end for a light in the loafers midget of a president, Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine? Are they going to fight for him? Because there's no other reason to fight. Ukraine, under the guidance of the CIA and Volodymyr Zelensky and American politicians, warmongers, have done nothing but piss off Putin, ethnically cleanse Russians that were living in Ukraine. It's just incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Right, that they pissed him off, started a war, and they want to blame Putin for it. Right? So yeah, and they're continuing to push that. Trump is supposed to be a peacemaker, but every time he gets a peace deal, Zelensky refuses. Why? Because Zelensky doesn't answer to Trump. It's obvious. Zelensky does not answer to Trump. Zelensky answers to the World Economic Forum, which acts as the boss through their surrogates at NATO and the European Union. It's that Ursula von der Sloot, whoever the leader is there. That's what they're doing. So yeah, they're not going to behave. And here's the thing, Robin, all of the dumbass communists in schools, colleges, in bureaucracy, and elected government officials, they convinced their voters that you and I are evil, that we're the bad ones, that they're at war with us. So therefore, they need to do everything they can to absolutely destroy this country. They won't behave. They've talked our neighbors into hating us. And remember, anywhere from 4 out of 10 to 5 out of 10, and maybe even 6 out of 10 in Democrat zones. They absolutely hate us. Every bit as much as we should fear. The Democrats, there's 4 to 6 out of 10 people that you know living in your neighborhood are Democrats, and folks, over half of all Democrats believe violence is acceptable to solve their political problems. I thought voting was supposed to be a bloodless way to run government. That's what we thought, right? Until they don't get their way, and then Democrats, become violent. Oh yeah, they're going to be violent. They're going to be violent. All right. Robin, thank you for the great support. And now I'm going to cover Darcy T. And she says, my comments have to do with and surround the digital identification, digital ID. Utah is already discussing it. It will be used to solve our problems with immigration, voting, etc. And she writes that it is just a digital leash. Darcy, it is. I'm going to agree with you. Oh, by the way, everyone, share the internet address wherever you are at. Share it. Share it with everybody, because the people that went over to X, well, right now we've been hacked at X. We don't control X. Someone stole it from us, so we cannot spread the message. Luckily, we got them locked out of everything else out there. Everything else is done. Everything else is done. In any event, I haven't seen any X comments because I don't think there can be any. They cut me out. They shut me off. Yep, that's just what I suspected. Anyways, let's continue if we shall. Digital ID. It's not just a leash. It can be used as a cage. So what is the digital ID? Well, we already have one. They already have an identification number. It's called your Social Security number. We have a bank account number. We have a Social Security account. We have a tax account. We have a bank account, bank accounts. They already tied everything together. Tied everything as much as you can tie all your finger. They're all tied together. What the government wants is their own unique digital ID and bank account that they keep you in. So it's not just a leash. It's also a cage. What if they say you're not allowed to travel more than 100 miles from your home or 200 miles from your home? How are you going to get outside that? You run out of gas, your digital ID can be used to not allow you to make any transactions. You can't buy or sell without the mark of the beast. They're really pushing it, folks. But hey, Utah's discussing it, but Florida has already outlawed it. You need to call your state reps, your governor, and tell them, don't you fucking dare. They're going to ruin the economy. They're going to ruin the monetary system. In fact, it's already ruined. It is a huge problem. The monetary system is wrecked by the Treasury and by the Federal Reserve, which is not federal, and they have nothing in reserve. And they want a digital leash and a cage. What if they said, well, you got caught speeding. You went through a red light. You said something offensive like the word retard, and therefore we're now going to punish you. So you can't go 100 miles. Now you can only go 20 miles before we shut off your digital ID and ability to do banking. But they've ruined the economy. They've ruined everything they can. Monetary economy, financial system, it's ruined. It's crashing right now. It's a beautiful slow motion crash. If you pay attention, you can see it in things like inflation, unemployment, cost of goods that you and I see on a personal, everyday basis. They're going to give us universal basic income. They're going to give us, hey, the digital ID is a gift. It's friendly. It's your friend. We're from the government. We're going to give you money by destroying everything else. Plus, they're bringing in artificial intelligence. That's going to solve our problems too, right? Of course, they'll claim it's to stop bad immigration. It's to protect voting. Got to protect the voting. I think my regular ID card works just fine. But they're going to go from the real ID to digital ID. It's a digital leash. It's a digital cage. And it'll become a digital prison. Question is, will you bend to their will? Crazy business. Well, it's quite interesting. Let's see. Let's do this. This and this, but we're going to do this now. It is Sexyism with a $50 super chat donation. And now I'm going to have to go look and see if I can find what Sexyism wrote. But first, let's do this. That bought me a nice scotch. I want to thank you, Sexyism. I have no idea who that person is on a real basis. But first, the shot. Thank you for the great donation. Donations put, well, they put tuna fish, spam, back here, wherever it is, all the stuff, all the preps. Got to be prepared, folks. Yes, you cannot leave it. You cannot let it go. You cannot stop. People will not behave. In fact, they're promising more violence. They're promising to lock us down. They're promising to steal our ability to travel, speak freely, act freely, have a Second Amendment. They don't want you to have any rights, any privacy, nothing. Here's to you. Oh, woo! Thank you. Sexyism now. Let's check the comments here. Let's see. I'm going to go all the way to the bottom. Okay, Sexyism, you've got to put something in here. And hey, Cottage Farm says, my grandbaby arrived today. Congratulations, Cottage Farm. All right. Scrolling up, scrolling, and doing lots of scrolling. But I don't know where the $50 super chat came from. Sexyism. This is one of the oddest things ever. Usually you can see this stuff. So I'm going to have to take a wild guess. I have no idea. Okay, Sexyism. Anyway, Sexyism, see if you can put up another comment. Use all caps. That way I can find it. But U-Man is on the road. He's lurking. He's watching. If anyone gets out of hand in the comments, he'll make sure you're punished later. Anyways, U-Man says, can you imagine being stranded on an island for the last 10 years and coming back to this? It's hard to imagine that. It is really, really hard to imagine that. Just being gone 10 days and coming back, I was shocked at the stupid. Shocked. At the same time, I knew things were bad. But it wasn't like things got better. It became instantly self-evident that the world is effed up. And it's not. And it is not going to get better anytime soon. Okay. Sexyism is AKA Miss Marilyn. All right. Well, good golly, Miss Marilyn. Anyways, thank you. You did get a hold of me via email, and yeah, I let you know we're all good. Okay. There we go. Sexyism is AKA Miss Marilyn. Okay, with a $50 super chat. Thank you again so much for taking care of the show, making sure that we stay fully funded because of what they have done, because of what YouTube and social media has done. In fact, I'm very, very, very suspicious that X, our account, The Prepared Mind on X, was hacked. They changed the passwords and access, and it was completely stolen. But only 2 weeks after I quit paying for a premium subscription there. Number one, money is tight. Number two, it did no good. It didn't get us any. In fact, they started, and I don't know if I need to blame Elon Musk for this or Trump or just the entire system, the system that is out to stop us. It was shadow banning us. Shadow banning us. How typical is that? Very typical in my opinion. Very typical, period. In any event, there's lots to discuss around here. Thank you, Darcy T. Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you, everyone out there. Let's see what else is out there. You guys, super chat button gets you on the screen, but there's topics I wanted to cover. Now, Stephen Miller. That's the guy that looks like Squidward. He's the, I think, the president's chief of staff, a deputy chief of staff. Yeah, Stephen Miller. He dropped a threat on Illinois Governor J.B. Prickster. J.B. stands for Jabba, by the way, Jabba Prickster. No doubt there, he is a Jabba-like freak. In any event, other officials in Illinois can face charges of seditious conspiracy for interfering with and blocking deportations from, immigrations and customs enforcement. I took a week off. I figured they had heard enough from me and you that they knew threats don't work, but they're still making threats. 10 months into Trump presidency part 2, and all they do is make threats. What the fuck is the point of the threats? Because it's not working. It's not helping. I'm reading chat from both channels. Ooman, since he's not here, he's going back and forth. Okay. Premium security with the purchase, huh? That's how it works. Thank you, Joshua Kraus. He says, hey, oops, no, wait, that was the wrong one. Let's try this again. There we go. Bernard Shreve Jr., who has been a great supporter of the channel over the years. He says, premium security with the purchase. And what he's talking about there is with X. Apparently, you stop giving them money and they just allow your channel to be stolen from you. Yep. Okay, Trucker Hershey starting at the beginning. Good idea. Village Idiot. Well, I was talking about government and Stephen Miller dropping threats. And he says, how about that spam blondie? Yeah, she's just as big a problem. Worthless, and worthless with respect to just making threats. Oh, Trump came out again. Folks, I tell you, if Trump does something right, I will congratulate him and stand by it. If he does something stupid or says something stupid, no, I'll criticize him. He came out again today and is threatening and saying that people need to be arrested. These seditious conspirators, these treasonous traitors, these bad guys on the left. Yeah, it needs to be more than that. It needs to be more than what they're doing. What they're doing is shit. They're not doing shit. They really aren't. They're just making threats. Trump says they need to be arrested, they need to be prosecuted, and then nothing happens. Stephen Miller, who is very smart, comes out and threatens, seditious conspiracy, and nothing happens. Then we get Kash Patel. He's used, wasted, bug-eyed, worthless bastard. Nothing. Pam Bondi, Spam Bondi, nothing. Dan Bongina, where is that guy? They're all worthless. They're all, you know what, folks? It just goes to show that they're controlled. That there's two wings, the left wing and the right wing, and they're both on the same dirty, worthless bird. Anyways, let's do this. Let's run over. We got another super chat donation, and that button's right up there on the original Prepared Mind, which is now active again. There is no super chat button. They're punishing us. But over on the new Prepared Mind channel, it is operational. That is the one with 4.9 thousand subscribers. Anyways, we have rolling into the house. Long time no see since I've been gone for a long time. It is Viking 670, a.k.a. Boomer, with a $20 super chat donation. This is interesting. We're going to go down the race road because, yes, the Democrats play the money card, the age card, the race card. The blacks, well, I'm going to improve on this, Boomer. The Democrat, socialist, communist blacks love to claim that they built America. However, there's very little in Africa that resembles the architecture over here. Is there something I'm missing out on, or is it just me? No, what we're dealing with is known as history revisionism. History revisionism. Additional to that is lying about the history of a people's, a race, a culture, an empire. But clearly, the evidence is clear about who has done what, when, and where. Relatively clear. Now, sometimes they say, well, Asia, China, and Japan are more sophisticated, older than our civilizations, right? But they didn't progress very fast. For example, the Chinese had explosives, fireworks. They had a lot of great technology. They sailed very well. They had the wheel. They had complicated government, big, beautiful architecture, Great Wall of China, palaces, temples, pyramids. There are more pyramids in China than I think the rest of the world combined. Now, pyramids that we know of. But they weren't able to take that technology past. Let's talk about, well, you brought up American blacks were brought over to South America, to Europe, to the Caribbean islands, and also to North America as slaves. They were captured by their own people, other blacks. They were sold by their own people, other blacks, to the white slave traders, except they weren't white. I know most people don't understand this and they don't believe it. But there was another ethnic group that was largely responsible for the slave trade. And I think only 5 to 10% of all African slaves, only that small number were brought to North America, to the colonies. The other 90% of all of the black slaves were taken to South America, the Caribbean, over to Arabia, the Orient, Europe, etc. So when we look at, did they really build America? Did they have the technology? Are they responsible as a people and a culture? The answer is no. Because if you look at Africa, everything that is sub-Saharan, that is to say, where the blacks came from, they didn't have a written language. They did not have the wheel. They did not have, well, architecture in the sense that they had anything more than primitive huts for housing. They did cattle, agriculture. They advanced that, but they were not industrial or industrialized. Like I said, they didn't even have the wheel invented down there. The Sahara Desert was an awful geologic or geographic, rather, barrier to trade, communication, technological advancements being spread around the world and shared. So if Africa was the only continent or the only area that had the wheel and stone architecture, columns, arches, domes, buildings, roads, freeways, infrastructure, plumbing, wastewater and fresh water, electricity. If they had all that and the rest of the world didn't, well, yeah, we could claim there is a Wakanda and the rest of the world had nothing. And it wasn't until the slaves came out that the rest of the world got these things. No, not true. And there are other peoples that never had a country because they were constantly being kicked out of the countries in which they resided. It's a parasitic group of people that spread, through the Caucasus, up into Eastern Europe, Western Europe, Russia, basically Northern Africa. And they keep getting kicked out of countries because they do not play and get along with others very well. And it wasn't until 1948 that they were given a little plot of land, and they have been causing nothing but fucking trouble ever since. Sadly, folks, there's stereotypes because of stereotypes. Not everyone that is Russian is bad. Not everyone that's American is bad. Not everyone that is African is bad or dumb or stupid or mean or evil or ruinous. right? But there are stereotypes for reasons. We'll just leave it at that. It's really rough. It really is. Anyways, I want to thank you, Mr. Boomer, for that great super chat and great topic. A very controversial topic. And folks, I'm not afraid to talk about controversial topics. We ought to be able to discuss culture, tradition, empire, architecture, math, science, religion, etc., and not be afraid that we're breaking some rule by discussing facts. Like the fact is that Muslims teach both verbally and through the Quran to kill everyone that isn't like them, that is not Muslim. In fact, they're pretty good at fighting each other too. And it is a fact that the Jewish Talmud, not the Old Testament, not the Torah, right, teaches them that, like the Muslims, they're superior and that God loves them the most and that everyone else should serve them and that they can do whatever it takes to take command and take control and destroy the world or make it theirs, right? We ought to be able to have those discussions honestly, openly, like stating the Holocaust. It's a hoax. And I don't have to say that. There are Jews that say the World War II Nazi Holocaust is a hoax. I don't have to say it. There are people that were there, that had family that were there, that say it's all a giant political lie. Isn't that odd? It's a political lie used to create political sympathy and political support and cultural support and religious support by simultaneously, at the same time they gave Israel a country, to a bunch of people who never had a country because they were wandering like gypsies. The Ashkenazi and Sephardic Jews of Europe are like gypsies. They don't have a country. They were given one, and look what they're doing with it. In any event, I got to tell you, there is so much going on out there that we need to be fully aware, and we need to be able to talk about it and share ideas. Even if you don't agree with me on anything or we don't agree with each other, we ought to be able to have that discussion, right? It's kind of like that Charlie Kirk thing. Shouldn't we be able to have a civilized discussion without threatening to kill me or you or something else, right? Yeah, a lot of people don't like facts. They don't like truth. They just don't. They don't want it. And, well, the idea is to hurt everyone that they don't like. So let us continue, if we shall. We've got more super chats here. Let's do it. Let's go back to Boomer. Oh, no, wait. How did that work? It's not Boomer. It's Shelly Chavers checking in with a $20 kapow super chat donation. And she writes, and this is a controversial topic, and you guys know I love controversy. She says, I've considered that this 31 Atlas comet could be the Great Deception coming. Scientists say it does not behave like the typical comet. Your thoughts, John? Well, Shelley, I've got to tell you, number one, thank you for the great donation. Number two, I agree with you. It does not behave, well, this is according to the scientists, and I do not trust the science. It does not behave like a typical comet. Right? Comets have a tail, always points away from the sun. Supposedly these solar winds push the tail away. But no, this one doesn't have a tail, doesn't act like a comet. We have had this happen several times now, starting with, well, remember that religious cult in Southern California, the Heaven's Gate. The Heaven's Gate cult. Comet Hale-Bopp was coming, and supposedly trailing behind the comet was another object. Was not comet-like. It was a spaceship. And that was the mothership that was coming to take them away. And so they did. They took themselves away and killed themselves. And then we've had other comets just in the last few years that science says it seems like an intergalactic, in other words, from outside our own solar system, an intergalactic visitor that came by It was shaped oddly. It was accelerating as it headed into our solar system, turned and then left. And now we have this 31 Atlas comet doing the same thing. So Shelley says, could this be the Great Deception coming? And what she's referring to with the Great Deception, is the book of Revelations, the Christian Bible that is not shared by, well, the Muslims nor the Israeli Jews. It's our Bible there. Says that there's going to be a great deception, that people are going to fall for it. Except for, I believe, the elect, or I might say the mentally prepared, right? We're not going to fall for it. Is it going to be aliens? Are they going to look like us? Is it going to be wonders in the sky? Are we going to be convinced to join a one world government, join together to defend ourselves from these aliens that are going to try and take over the world? Or they're going to battle us? Are they going to blow up some cities? Are we all going to just suddenly forget our petty differences, as President Reagan suggested? If we had, an attack from outer space, this is what he said back in the 80s as president. In fact, I believe he made these comments, and I'm just paraphrasing them, during his meetings with the United Nations. Essentially, he said, how quickly we would forget our differences if we were visited with a threat from outer space. And that's why we needed the Star Wars defense system. Interesting things. I believe that everything now is a great deception test, Shelley. Not just the 31 Atlas comet, not just the stupid comet. Everything is a test of our intelligence. Cerveza bug was a test of our intelligence, to see if we believed we're all dying when nobody's dying, to see if we would believe the hospitals are overflowing when people went to the hospitals and there was no one there. There was so little to do that nurses and doctors and other hospital staff danced. They created dance routines. They filmed their dance routines. They put their dance routines on the internet. And then when they walked home, people clapped and cheered. Oh, yay! They clapped and cheered from their homes and their balconies as they were locked down, believing that those were essential workers, but the rest of us were non-essential. That was a deception. And then the deception of, we came up with the cure, the Jim Jones juice, which was nothing more than a failed program that had been around for about 20 years called gene therapy. Gene therapy. Well, they've actually been working on it for the last 40 years. Some could even say longer. Once they got the CRISPR technology in, look that up, CRISPR, CRISPR, and DNA and gene therapy. Look that up. They were going to use viruses. They wanted to put a DNA package, an mRNA package inside a virus that would go in your body and inject you with that. And it would get into your cells. Then your cells would follow whatever that injected cell kept programming all of them to do. And what's it programming most people to do? Develop clots, enlarged heart, brain damage, neurological damage, organ failure, lung failure, all kinds of fucking problems, birth defects, cancer, the Pfizer file stuff. That was a great deception to see if they could trick us into taking that shit. And a lot of people did, sadly. Even good people, even good conservative people, because they had to keep their jobs and they were threatened. That's called a duress or extortion, and it is a crime, by the way. That's why the media, politicians said, oh, no, we never required anyone to take it. We never forced anyone. No. There's fucking videos out there of people in the military being tackled and injected. Don't fucking tell me people weren't forced. But here we are. So again, the great deception. We're being deceived and told. Remember this, Shelley? Remember, everyone? The southern border is secure. 20 fucking million people. 20 million people at least came across the border or were flown into this country by, well, your tax dollars, by the Vatican, by non-government organizations with your you said tax dollars. Bringing them in. Yeah, you bet your ass that there's more deception coming. And I think people that took the Jim Jones juice and got the boosters and booster after booster and did nothing to detox themselves, I think that they could be suffering from brain damage. And I'm being honest here. Because it causes clots. The Jim Jones juice does. And those clots can get stuck in the brain. Right now we know that blood, veins and arteries, they've lots of blood flow, right? But in order to transfer oxygen and nutrients from our blood into our organs, our muscles, and our brain also. Brain needs food, brain needs fat, brain needs cholesterol. It's made out of cholesterol, in fact. It has to go down to one blood cell wide. One blood cell can fit through there, right? So a clot means a chunk of stuff that can block those parts of the brain. Those parts of the brain don't get oxygen or nutrients, and they can die. Little piece after little piece after little piece. In other words, people that have taken a lot of clot shots, it's a good chance they've got brain damage and they're going to fall for the deception, right? There's a lot of stuff there in the old book of Revelations about the great deception, the false prophets, the kings, certain countries, the great whore of Babylon, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it comes down to being deceived. And yeah, people could be deceived that this comet has, well, aliens, or maybe another lost human civilization. Imagine that. The human civilization that left, say, thousands of years ago, and it's now come back. Holy cow, they're our friends. We need to be nice to them, right? Something like that. Something like that. To deceive us into giving up our rights, giving up our guns, giving up our food, giving up our lives, our independence, etc. They could claim to be gods. They could claim to be superior beings. They could use any number of things. In any words, those are my thoughts on that, Shelley. Always great to hear from you. And now, this was a big, big, big one, folks. A $200 super chat donation from Cottage Farm. Wow. $200 super chat. Thank you, Cottage Farm, so much. And she says, it's welcoming baby day today. She says, I'm on my way to the hospital to support my son and daughter-in-law. Woohoo! P.S. This is 4 shots, John. Oh, good golly. Now, here we go. Here's number one. I won't be able to do all these in a row. I won't be able to do it. I just won't. Cottage Farm, though, I'm going to be good to my word, good to the money, good to your request. 4 shots before the show is up. Cheers to your baby, your grandbaby. That's just beautiful. And of course, as stated earlier, I have 2 of them. 2 new grandchildren coming into my life. Isn't that wonderful news? And I'm going to do 2 in a row and do 2 more. Don't let me forget. It's hard to watch all the comments, but I can see the super chats. At least I can see those. Good golly, Cottage Farm. Congratulations to us both. Heart attack. Just kidding. No. Woo. Yeah, this is a celebration night. I got to tell you, it was a celebration having my family come out to Florida. Mom surprising me and everybody with a nice trip. While it was a surprise, I also knew it was coming. But learning that I have 2 new grandbabies coming was absolutely amazing. And now you've got a baby, and it's just wonderful. Folks, how much harder am I going to fight knowing there's more little prepared minds out there that are going to need to be protected, educated, and empowered with their rights? It's up to you and me. It really is up to us to share the internet address, to share information, to share opinions. Folks, it wasn't until I was out of the Marine Corps, I was working at a freaking lumber yard, building loads of lumber to deliver to construction sites, houses being built. And I met this gentleman named Fred Newsom, who owned a video store. Remember the video rental store where you go in and you get the box off the shelf and you look at the new releases and then the old ones, and they had comedies and westerns and romantic comedies and action and science fiction, and then you go through the curtain, there was the adult section in the video store. Anyways, Fred owned a video rental store, but he was also did a lot of remodels and stuff on houses, I guess he had. He was a wealthy guy. He was a nice guy. But he looked at me, he goes, "John, do you know about the creature from Jekyll Island?" I said, "What are you talking about, man? Is that a monster movie from your store?" Anyways, he said, no, it's the Federal Reserve. And he let me know it's not federal. It's not government. It's a private bank. G. Edward Griffin, or is it Edward G. Griffin, wrote the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. That was the first conspiracy theory, apart from, the JFK assassination and Bigfoot, which I knew wasn't a conspiracy. It's a real thing. Bigfoot's a real animal, real species of animal. Anyways, I didn't have any conspiracy theories except JFK I knew was not hit by a magic bullet. But he goes, no, that. And we started looking into it. I started looking into the JFK assassination, Federal Reserve, the Constitution, the start of wars like, Remember the Maine, the Spanish-American War, the Civil War, how that was started, what a bullshit shaft that was. I learned about the Illuminati, who they are and who they are not. And I studied that one for 15 years before I finally came to a conclusion, because I had to get to the truth. I had to get to the bottom of it. But I have been ever since doing what I could to share the knowledge and share the information. So we're not deceived, as Shelley was talking about, and how Cottage Farm points out that we have children and grandchildren, and they need to hear facts and truth. They need details. They need to understand who the bad guys really are and who the bad guys are not. For example, is it a conspiracy theory? Remember General Patton, badass World War II Army general, stormed through France, stormed and smashed the Germans on the way to Berlin. He was killed shortly after. Why? Because he said that we should keep going, that Germany wasn't the real enemy, and that we should go after the communists in Russia. The communist Russians were the real enemy. Now, I've got a friend who spent 20 years in Germany, in the army, no less. And I know you're supposed to change duty stations. Why? Why was Major Lamberton in Germany for 20 years? Some of us know and others don't. But he went to Heidelberg and he says, "Hey, John, did you know that every country from Germany eastward that they invaded and took control of, so Poland, Ukraine, Romania, Hungary, I think even the Scandinavian countries, when they beat them or that country surrendered, guess what? They were told, you need to become members of the German army and go fight the communists, because the communists will kill everybody. The communists killed Christians. The Russian communists killed 50 million Christians. You want to talk about a fucking Holocaust? Is that a conspiracy theory? Is the George Patton conspiracy theory? Is it a conspiracy theory, or is it believable based on historical facts, things we know, and we can compare information? Folks, this is why we need to be prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, solar power, battery backups, communications equipment. You need to be prepared. Why? Because they're going to try and deceive us. They're going to try and censor us. They're going to try and silence us. They're going to try and box us in. They're going to try and give us digital ID. They're going to try and control us with a leash and a cage and a choke collar. They're going to try and convince you that you're an inferior being, that this people over here are superior, or this race coming from outer space are superior. We need to be fully prepared. And I got to tell you, Cottage Farm, those scotches are hitting the spot and waking me up nice. There are so many conspiracy theories, and I'm finding it hard that when I discover them, to dismiss them all or dismiss everything about them outright. A lot of it is bullshit. A lot of it's fakery. But there are grains of truth that slip through, and if you start investigating, you're going to find out we're being deceived, or we as a people, as a country, as a culture, they're trying to deceive us. They're trying to convince us that Israel is full of God's chosen people, that we're inferior to them. And the Muslims want us to believe that they're superior. They've convinced themselves that they're superior and they're going to come after us. They're convincing people of incredible lies. That's what they're doing. This is money. That right there is money. Silver is money. They've taken our silver from us as money, and now we use paper as currency. Right? They're going to try and trick us and take away our paper even, and give us electronic digits. Folks, we just hit 300 people live. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Share the internet address. Hit the share button down below. Be sure and thumbs up. And you cannot do any comments unless you've been subscribed. You've got to be a subscriber for 5 minutes or more. Anyways, Cottage Farm, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that go. And I'm going to let that one go. You got 2 more shots coming, I know. And they're really, I'm feeling them good. Folks, if you've got something to say, super chat button right up there. That supports the channel. It pays the bills. And we've got servers, internet service, subscriptions, lights, spam I've got to buy, as well as a bottle of scotch. And you guys have been doing a great job of keeping this channel above board, even though all, and I mean all, of social media is against you and me. They're against the facts. They're against truth. They're against our country. And speaking of people, folks, you're going to love this. The people on the wrong side of history, is incredible. Over in Germany, while speaking of Germans, they're arresting their political enemies. The government that is in charge is arresting their political enemies. Tyranny has returned. That's right. They arrested Trump. They did. They charged him with a bunch of bullshit and found him guilty of nothing. But guilty. 34 times he's been found guilty of nothing. But tyranny has returned. Germany has been assassinating their Freedom Party members. They've been arresting them also. Right? They're calling it a crackdown. What I call it is a failed political establishment known as the European Union, socialism, which, well, it spread out of spread out of Russia, didn't it? Well, they're not assassinating Christians, are they? See, the Bolshevik Russians, the Soviet Bolsheviks, find out what their religious beliefs were, and you'll discover why they killed 50 million Christians. Look it up. And then, but in Europe, we have socialism, communism again, but now they're not assassinating every single Christian, are they? You know what they're doing? They're destroying Christianity. They're destroying the culture. They're destroying the European traditions in every country. And it's causing the entire system to fail. The entire political system, not just to Germany, but France, Belgium, Switzerland, Spain, Italy, Portugal, all of the United Kingdom states, all of Scandinavia, all of Eastern Europe, unless they have said no to immigration from third world shitholes, countries like Hungary, Slovakia, have told them, no, we're not bringing these trash people in. I believe Poland is also saying, no. Surprisingly, protecting their culture, which is also founded and based on their religious belief system of the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But Germany's absolutely failing. And Germany was, and I think still is, even though it's now crippled, they are the economic engine of Europe. They produce in Europe. The rest of Europe, not so much. Germany was the industrial powerhouse. Italy used to be a big part of that as well. France as well. England as well. But they've given up on themselves, brought in a bunch of worthless fucks from other countries, and here we are. Here we are. What do you guys want to talk about? This is your show. It is Sunday Night Live on Monday night, because I just got back from a huge family get-together to announce babies are coming to the family, just like Cottage Farm. She's got a baby coming into her family, and she did a great $200 super chat donation, and thank you. And I owe her 2 more shots. We'll get to them. But yeah, folks, government is failing. These left-wing lunatics are now arresting, cracking down on, and even assassinating people that don't agree with them. Exactly. The people that don't agree with them. You know, kind of like in America, where they can come on the news and announce that you and me, Republicans, are the bad guys. Let's revisit this one more time real quick and see what you think.
There are public figures today, yesterday, and the day before predicting and all but calling for mass violence and rioting in the streets.
Obviously, Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore. Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore. Republicans are the biggest threat to democracy.
This means war. That is where we are. We are at war with these people. These folks are evil.
And all
That's what they think of us. They're trying to destroy us. But this is who these people are. We have another Democrat presidential candidate yet again arrested. Who are the left wing? These are people that live around us. Like I said, 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10. And if you're in a really fucked up area, 7 out of 10, right? A popular arts and crafts YouTuber. This guy went by the name of Mr. Crafty Pants. Well, guess what? This Democrat has been arrested on child pornography charges. I want to know if he's friends with Dollar Store Obama Hakeem. Is he friends with Nancy Pelosi? Is he friends with Upchuck? Is this guy, Mr. Crafty Pants, is he friends with the Clintons? Anthony Weiner and Huma Abedin? Is he friends with James Comer? Another presidential candidate lost. That is who the left wing is, folks. It's funny because our neighbors, we would think are normal people, yet they support people like that. This type of shit. They support it. They absolutely support the violence. And they support this crazed rainbow lunatic destroy children, and they support illegal immigration, and they support destroying our culture. And they're doing it. They're doing it from within the churches by saying, oh yeah, Jesus loves homosexuals. He loves butt fucking. You bet. Right? The whole thing is a shit show, folks. But yeah, another presidential candidate arrested. Good job. And speaking of butt pirates, tell me that being a butt pirate doesn't destroy brain cells. And I tell you what, folks, look, I've got gay people in my family. I got gay people as friends. I don't give a shit. Tell me that being a butt pirate doesn't destroy brain cells. Are you ready? The 2028 Democrat presidential candidate, Pete Buttigieg, says that the communist Muslim Zohran Mamdani should be a great mayor. There's no explanation as to why he's going to be a great mayor. Oh, he's going to be a great mayor because, communism, the destruction of, our republic, he'll be great. This is the Democrat. This is the top thinkers. The top thinkers. I came back after a brief vacation to the top thinkers. The Democrats now own. They own this crap, folks. They own this crap. I mean, it's just incredible. The Democrat establishment, the Democrat Party, the Democrat voters are rallying behind that communist, Muslim Zohran Mamdani, the guy who is called, folks, for our death. And I'm serious. The House Democrat leader, Hakeem Jeffries, a.k.a. Dollar Store Obama, a.k.a. Discount Obama, Hakeem Jeffries, has given his full endorsement to a communist Muslim immigrant named Zohran Mamdani for New York City. And this is the end of America as we know it. Because Democrats, who are about 45% of the population in our country, 45% of the population, support a communist, anti-Christian Muslim who called for global Antifida. Global Antifida means death to Christians, folks. It says all that needs to be said about what they want. He wants to, by the way, steal money from rich people, steal property from rich people, steal businesses from rich people, open up government stores, which have always been shown to be an absolute abject failure. This is what the left offers. So over on the right, you got Trump, who's offering what he's offering. Well, I'll tell you what, folks. Don't give me a shit sandwich and tell me you're going to eat this or I'm going to piss on it and then make you eat it. They're both not good. They're not American. But this is who the Democrats are. They want, and so your neighbors, your friends, your family that are Democrats, whether they're straight or gay, or both for that fucking matter, if they're Democrats, they want to destroy this country. They want to destroy our culture, our traditions, our religions. They give themselves an entire fucking month. Gay Pride Month. What did the gays do to secure freedom and liberty in this country during the revolution? Not a fucking thing. Where were they during World War I, World War II? Nowhere to be seen. You had the Army, you had the Marine Corps, and the gays did what? Well, they were butt fucking each other. Like, they're not these left-wing lunatics that want Islam, want foreigners. They want everything homosexualized. They want to destroy our Constitution. They hate free speech unless it's their free speech. They hate your free speech and mine, that's for sure, which is why we're being punished so heartily. They are punishing the shit out of us. But they, my friends, are the enemy, not us, not me and you. The Democrats are the enemy who are inside the gates. The enemy is inside the gates. Tim Walz, remember Tampon Timmy? Remember Twinkle Toes Timmy Walz? Kamala Camel Toe Harris's vice presidential running mate? Well, he has a donor who is also a former Minneapolis chamber, right? And I talked about this earlier today in the morning discussion. But yeah, he's been indicted on 5 counts of bank and wire fraud. He's being accused of stealing $30,000 in unsolved child murder reward money and $200,000 of embezzling. That's government money. Bank wire fraud, embezzling, stealing. These are the Democrats, and hey, they're good with it. What do you guys want to talk about? It is your channel. It's your show. It is Monday Night Live. It is the Zoo special Sunday Night Live on Monday. Super chat button right up there is what gets you onto the screen down here. Oh, good golly, folks. We've got a lot to discuss. Let's see what is happening here. Let's see. Susie Q, no one's getting out of this alive. Yeah, no shit. Good golly. Okay. And well. It is once again Viking, who is Boomer. He's back with another super chat donation, $20. And he says, Man Dumby. That's a Zofak Mandami, the New York City candidate for mayor. Man Dumby is getting voted in because if you add the migrant vote onto the forever liberal voters, conservatives end up being outnumbered in New York City. Yeah, you nailed it. Now, see, every major metropolis in America and Canada, my friend, is heavy Democrat, because that is where you go if you're a Democrat and you need welfare and you want to be un-American and you need to be around other people. They know to be birds of a feather that flock together. And so if you live in a metropolis, odds are it's a Democrat metropolis, that 5 out of or 6 out of 6 people in your neighborhood are Democrats. Yeah, but in New York City especially, it's very liberal, very anti-Republican, which is strange considering, well, all the money that goes to the Empire State and Empire City, right? The stock market. All the money goes there to be controlled and run and taxed by people like Man Dumby. Woo! Yeah. Getting outvoted does not remove your rights, by the way. Getting outvoted, being in a minority, doesn't mean you lose all of your constitutional, God-given rights. Because we don't have a democracy, despite what the Democrat, Dumbocrat liberals think. We don't have a democracy. We have a republic, a constitutional republic, which says rights are guaranteed from God, not from government. It goes God, man writes the Constitution. Constitution creates the government. The Constitution is superior to what the government does because the government's created by the Constitution. And we, the people, man, created the Constitution, which created government, which means government should be serving us, should it not? Yet what happens every day? Every day the government taxes you and me. Every day the government claims to be your boss and my boss, and that they can tell us what to do, especially if someone catches a cold, for fuck's sake. Oh no, someone's got a cold. Quick, everyone, hide in your homes. These fucking people. The enemy is inside the gates, right? They are. They're inside the gates. We're supposed to be protected from all enemies, foreign and domestic. How do we protect ourselves against domestic enemies? Well, we entrusted the government. But if you're outnumbered and the people in charge put scumbag, anti-American, communist fucks in positions like Attorney General, right? Law enforcement. So whether it's local, state, or federal, if you can't get these people to do their fucking job, they will not protect our country and you and me from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Nor will they prosecute and remove people from power who are doing said things, which is all the complaints we have about Trump, Bondi, Kash Patel. Why aren't these people being arrested? Tom Homan of Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. Why are you not, as law enforcement, arresting people in government who are interfering with and giving aid and comfort to illegals who are here? We're outnumbered by idiots. Crazy business. Crazy, crazy business. All right, folks. There's so much to talk about. So much to talk about. Now, the Democrats have become so anti-American, so obviously anti-American, so obviously treasonous, full of shit. Well, Mandami can run in New York unopposed because, well, he doesn't have to debate a Republican. In other states, like, well, Virginia, where that Abigail spam turd, whatever the fuck her name is, that dumb, blonde, liberal twit, she will not answer questions having to do with her position on letting boys into girls' bathrooms and locker rooms so they can assault and rape girls. She wouldn't say anything. Well, in another case, folks, candidate refused to even participate in the debate. Well, after, the Republican, I think her name is Winsome Searles of Virginia, a Republican woman who happens to be black and a Marine, right? Abigail, the blonde, liberal, idiot, white bitch, would just sat there with her mouth shut and would answer questions, right? We've got another candidate for office who's Republican, and the Democrat would not even show up. So this guy showed us how to do it. He held an artificial intelligence debate because the Democrat refused to participate, basically asked questions, and then used their quotes on a television screen of what they said they support. Either Twitter, email, flyers, other speeches. You can now use artificial intelligence, and I think this is actually an intelligent way to use artificial intelligence, is to have it dig up what people say and then ask them to answer for it. Like, I can pretty much answer for anything I've ever said or done. Some people may not like the answers. Like, John, why did you say so many rotten things about feminists? Well, because they tried destroying my fucking life. How's that? I don't like feminists because they hate our culture, tradition, and religion. They also love abortion and killing babies. And they hate the Constitution and free speech. Those are all pretty good reasons to hate all those California liberal women. At any event, I mean, like I said, someone wants to debate that with me, we can go right ahead and have fun. Woo! In fact, where have all of the feminists been? Since men have been doing a weenie tuck, putting makeup on their bearded, mustachioed, pockmarked, weather-beaten male faces, and said that they're women. Now, I found it humorous that years ago, the hardcore dick-hating lesbian dykes out there, they were mad. They're like, these men pretending to be women, they don't get to say they're women. They haven't done what women have done. They haven't put up with women, blah, blah, blah. You know, all the things that, it's like, well, they were told to shut the fuck up. Sorry, all you bull dyke lesbians. You're going to have to put up with these men pretending to be women. And where's the National Organization for Women? Not saying a fucking word. Men competing in women's sports? Not a fucking word. Men taking women's jobs because they're men pretending to be women. Zip. The National Organization of Liberal, Loudmouth, Bitchy, Ugly Women. No. And then there's the Men for Kamala. They are more womanly than most, good golly, most women. These limp-wristed fruitcakes out there that want to vote for Kamala. Yeah. Anyways, Chin Music sent me a message, said he's been absolutely buried by work. And so he cannot participate with questions tonight, unfortunately, sadly, terribly sadly. He still has 30 minutes to chime in. You guys have 30 minutes as well to hit that super chat button and get in your questions, your comments, your thoughts, what it is that's on your mind that's happening in the world today. Shit has hit the fan. It is Monday. It is October 27th. And I tell you what, lots of family out there that are missing good things. All right. What do we got here? Let's see. I thought I got rid of that one. There we go. Let's see. This is interesting. I want to share this one with you. An Illinois state representative named Margaret Croke, or Croakey or Crocky. It's Croke. She put an email out revealing the names of immigrations and customs enforcement agents, their cars, license plate numbers, who they are, putting these agents at extreme risk to Antifa, who, by the way, need to be, treated like terrorists. And I think they're actually gearing up for a response to them, to go after them en masse, to do a mass arrest of Antifa. They need to do that, period. But this Illinois state government representative, Margaret Croke, has revealed the names, addresses, license plates, cars of government agents who are responsible for getting rid of some of the filthiest, nastiest, bad hombres from other countries that are here, that include terrorists, drug cartels, murderers, rapists, human traffickers, drug dealers. And has Illinois State Representative Margaret Croakey, has she been arrested? No. She has not been arrested. That bitch should be tackled, thrown to the ground, and handcuffed. Why not? Why hasn't she? She has violated the law. She has given aid and comfort to the enemy, to foreign agents in this country, against the direct. It's not like they said, hey, we didn't tell anyone, but you're not allowed to do that, so we're arresting you. They've been warned. They've been threatened. They've been told it's going to happen, yet no arrests. Can anybody at this point look at me square in the face, or square in the comments, square in the super chat, and excuse the Trump administration, the Trump Attorney General, the Trump FBI, the Trump Department of Justice in general? No, because they're not making the arrests of people who need to be fucking arrested. I tell you. Someone tell me why I have to support them when they will not arrest people for breaking the fucking law. Because I know for a fact, that they're not making these arrests, and that they have the power to make these arrests, and they're not doing it. Right? That's fact. So how do you justify them not doing their jobs? Allowing the people that are trying to destroy this country to keep destroying the country. Arrest her. Yes, now. Everyone. All of these fucking people. Including former President Joe Biden for calling for violence directly. And after, when he was president, accusing us of saying, well, we're violent. Remember? One more time. Quickly.
There are public figures today, yesterday, and the day before predicting and all but calling for mass violence and rioting in the streets.
Obviously,
Yeah, he fucking did that. And remember when Pete Hegseth, get this. Okay, we're down to the last 30 minutes, everyone. Super chat donations right up there. Get you on the screen. I'll make you famous. Anyways, remember Pete Hegseth, who is now, well, Secretary of Defense. They've changed that to the Department of War. He is now the Secretary of War for the United States government. Pete Hegseth has a tattoo on his chest. And it is not a Nazi symbol. It's certainly not the swastika. But we were told that that was a Nazi symbol. No, it's actually a military symbol and a Templar symbol that's been adopted by the military. And, he has other patriotic tattoos. But the Democrats actually have a Democrat candidate who had an actual fucking Nazi tattoo on him. And the Democrats want to give him a pass. He literally had the Nazi death's head skull tattooed on him. And this is a guy. He's not just an American. He's not just a Democrat. He's running for fucking office, running for political office. But the Democrats have given him a pass. This guy gets a Nazi tattoo, death's head tattoo, and he sports it and wears it and shares it, and nobody fucking told him it was Nazi tattoo. Isn't that incredible? That someone can actually do that. It goes to show you how unintelligent Democrats are. It goes to show you how dumb they are. And the news media, the mainstream media, the lamestream media, the idiot media out there did what? Nah, it's okay. It was an accident. Doesn't matter. Kid Rock went on television and reamed him. I mean, Kid Rock, not the top layer of morality, not the top layer of, well, role model for our children and grandchildren. But Kid Rock is an American, and Kid Rock is a patriot, and Kid Rock knows better. He seems to respond to common sense and intelligent thought, critical thinking. Whereas Democrats don't. They just give a fucking hall pass to Nazi Democrats and then attack someone for being an American. It goes to show the absolute abject hypocrisy and stupidity of the left. And this is why you and me don't watch television, don't watch mainstream media. Why? There's nothing redeeming on it. There's no information there. Nothing good at all. Okay. I'm going to do it. Cottage Farm did a $200 super chat donation, and I owe her 2 more shots of scotch. And I'm trying not to get blasted lit. But I got to tell you, if you're going to get blasted and lit, it's going to be with you guys, because I love you all very much. You've stuck with me through thick and thin, good times, bad times, hard times, lots of hard times, through lockdowns and freedom, through Trump and Obama. Oh, yeah, I was doing this show back when Obama was around, folks. And then Biden, while I was in California, when I was going through a divorce, when I left for the RMZ, when I came back to civilization in Florida. You guys have stuck with me and kept supporting the channel, sharing, learning. Thank you, everyone, one and all. Oh, woo! I'm going to be feeling this. Then I'm going to do the last Cottage Farm. Can feel it. They hit you fast, folks. There we go. The last Cottage Farm. Scotch for the night. And I'm going to share another little piece of information with you guys. It was October 31st of 2020. I left and returned to America in Florida on October 31st. In other words, in 4 days will be the 5th year anniversary. Right? I wanted to do it now before we got there rather than after. So this Sunday Night Live edition on Monday Night Live, or Monday Night Live edition of Sunday night, is the 5-year anniversary of coming back and fighting the good fight and standing on American soil with you guys and telling the government we're fucking done with it. It is the Constitution, or it is going to be hell to pay. Thank you, Cottage Farm, for helping me and all of you who are here live celebrate my 5th year anniversary of returning to civilization. Smooth. Fucking so good. But man, that scotch, it'll get you. So earlier today on both YouTube channels, I put out posts with a picture of me standing next to a sign. This is where I was, thanks to Mom, for my absence. And there were chickens, and there were roosters, just like at the RMZ. They were there, chickens and roosters, trying to scare the shit out of me. Anyways, it's good to be back, folks. It's good to have a 5-year anniversary. And we're going to continue the show. We've got another 20 minutes. And we're going to stop in with Bernard Shreve Jr. doing a $10 super chat donation. And the super chats by food, ammunition, and there's a water treatment kit. Hey, whatever it takes. Anyways, you guys, you've helped keep me prepared. You've helped me and this show get through hard times. And the hard times are still coming. Yes, they are. Bernard Shreve Jr. says it's good to be a prepared mind because the mental health of America is gone. Along with God-fearing people with revelations is opening today. Oh, yeah, folks. This is not a religious show, but it's easy to see how someone who is living in horrifying, awful times under Roman psychotic control, as the empire was crumbling, John on the island of Patmos wrote the book of Revelations, which has been included in the Christian Bible, and it talks about what government does. Read it. It's not about, it's got all kinds of stuff in there, but it's about government institutions, literally. And so having a prepared mind and understanding that the end times is about a government trying to kill us all and take control of us, and how people are going to fall for the deception, how government is going to destroy us in little steps and little pieces, and also big pieces and big steps. In fact, I have a great example, Bernard, to share with you guys. The anti-American politicians are pushing their lawlessness from their seats of power. And unelected Americans, Democrats, are voting to put these Democrats into positions of power. And from those seats of power, they are pushing lawlessness, chaos, violence on us Americans. An Oklahoma teenager has avoided an 80-year sentence. This guy is a rapist, an Oklahoma rapist, who assaulted 2 girlfriends. And so this teenager, instead of being charged as an adult who committed an adult crime, we're not talking about petty theft or burglary or aggravated trespassing or assault. No, this was fucking up 2 girls. A teen rapist is being treated as a youthful offender. That's right. The judge has granted the status of underage youth, so no 80 years in jail for assaulting and being a rapist. This is in Oklahoma, not New York City, not Kenosha, Wisconsin, or is it Kenosha, Minnesota? Anyways, it's not the liberal stronghold of San Francisco or Seattle. Oklahoma. These people are everywhere, and they want to say you, us, me. that we're the evil ones? These people are evil, says Mr. Funny guy on TV. And Biden, who said that they need to get violent, is saying that the right wing is all but calling for violence. No, they are literally calling for violence. And it is good that there are God-fearing people here, because you need to fear something in this life. And most people don't fear the Democrats. They think, they're harmless. That won't affect me because, I don't say anything against them. Being silent won't protect you from evil. Do you think being silent would protect you from the Nazis or from the communists or from the Muslim maniacs or from the South Africans? Oh, yeah, the South African people. Kill the Boer, kill the farmer. They want to kill people just because they're white. They do. They want to kill people because they're white or because they're Christian, because they're of European descent. It's good. You better be prepared, folks. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. We need to be prepared. We need to be prepared. We do. And maybe this little bit of thank you for the great super chat donation there, Bernard. You're the man. Okay. Wow. Just wow. Just a big wow. 15 minutes in the show left, folks. Who wants to step up? Super chat donation will get you on the screen. You can have a comment about past, future, politics, education, the military, international affairs, gold, silver, the market, food, science out of control, aliens, as Shelley Chavers talked about, that comment. What do you want to talk about? It's your show. We got a few minutes left, and then I'm going to try and sleep off this big drunk you guys have gotten me on. And mainly, I almost said mainly, I'm going to give Cottage Farm credit for doing a big one and then making sure I knew what it was for. In any event, folks, Trump is still doing some stuff out there. I want Trump to step up. I want him to be the president that we need, that freedom and liberty has to have to survive. Well, we're not getting that 100%. Steve Bannon reported on his show that Trump wants to serve a third term. And Trump responded to Steve Bannon saying on his show that Trump wants to serve a third term. And Trump's response, here is the quote. I can actually quote this. He says, "I would love to do it." Is Trump just trolling everyone, especially the Democrats? Is he trolling him, pissing him off? Well, it could be. It literally could be just that. Because Trump also threatens to arrest Hillary and Nancy and everyone else for insider trading and for, breaking the law, committing acts of treason, along with, Comey of the FBI and Brennan and others with the CIA, Susan Rice and Obama with the Obama administration. Right? He threatens them all with arrest and he doesn't do anything. So is he just trying to piss off? Okay, Biaxo did a super chat earlier, so I'm going to put this up there. He's in response to my comments. He says he, meaning Trump, is an actor and a puppet like the rest of them. While Yankee Watchdog says, and Yankee Watchdog is also a longtime subscriber who does super chats. My mustache is itching. I think it's a drunk thing. Too much rum while I was away. Anyways, he says martial law could get Trump there to his third term. That's something that the Democrats are really afraid of. Man, that I'm losing it fast. You guys, if you want me to stay on, you gotta losing my ability to think here. Yeah, Trump is pissing people off. But doing coke, John, no cocaine, no illegal drugs. Sorry, I'm not that kind of guy. I stick with alcohol. Folks, alcohol, the original, the long time. In fact, it's probably in our genetic makeup. It's a painkiller. It's an antiseptic. It sterilizes things. That's what antiseptic means, right? It's a depressant. It's an antidepressant. It does all kinds of things. It's the original. It's the original pharmaceutical that the pharmacy can't control. And they don't want us to have aspirin anymore as a painkiller and fever reducer and blood thinner. They want to sell you antidepressants that make you depressed and suicidal and homicidal. They want to give you blood thinners that they want to sell you rather than give you aspirin to thin your blood. And they want to, everything needs to be drugs that you can't get without their help. Even weed. Marijuana is natural, can grow anywhere. They don't like people having that as a painkiller or a sedative. In any event, folks, the government is bad, and the people that run the government are not doing a great job of convincing us that they're doing a good job. Now, wild lettuce. That's fucking funny. I'm going to check the news headlines to see what has happened in the devil's lettuce. Here we fucking go. In the last 2 hours, what's been happening? All right. Let's see. Nope, I don't want to talk about that. Who gives a shit? Michael Brown says, wow, weed too. Yeah, man, all natural. The cannabinoid oils, right? Cannabinoids. I can't say it. I've had too much vitamin A. Alcohol, vitamin, and nicotine. Nicotine breaks down and kills viruses. They hated to admit that. Remember that shit? They hated it. Fucking horse medicine, ivermectin. Woo! You can't have that stuff. That'll get rid of parasites, and parasites cause all manner of diseases, including cancer, according to real scientists. But yeah, I got Michael Brown in there. How you doing there, brother? Always good seeing that you're around. Everybody, it's good to see that you're in here. Anyways, let's do this. I've got an Ohio woman fatally stabbed a 3-year-old boy in a grocery store parking lot, has been sentenced to life without parole. Literally, an Ohio woman fatally stabbed a 3-year-old little boy in a grocery store parking lot. This bitch has been sentenced to life in prison without parole. Good. Finally, a judge that's not a communist. That is some good news for you guys. Yep. And again, folks, remember the Democrats are violent. And I want to give you the quote from Joe Biden. These are dark days. It's time to fight like hell. Viking 670. What? No, wait. That wasn't what I wanted to put on there. What the hell? Holy shit! He says, far better than being stuck up here in Quebec. I don't. Quebec. Yeah. Let's see. Dang it. Jazz cabbage. You guys are fucking crazy in the comments. Yeah, Michael says hello, family. There's Michael Brown. Hello, family. There's someone else here. They said something. Mike Knudsen says hi, John. Hello there, Mike. All right, good deal. I'm running out of time. I got 10 minutes left. Let's do some more news stories here. What do we got? Oh, let's see. The National Institutes of Health, Dr. Fauci's government operation, he was the highest paid federal employee / subcontractor ever. Dr. Scumbag Anthony Fauci. He was responsible for Wuhan lab leak and Cerveza bug. This jackass and his National Institutes of Health funding is still testing on dogs and monkeys. Nasty, abusive, destructive, torturing dogs. Remember, he locked beagles in cages with their heads separated from their body so that the maggots would eat their faces and they couldn't die. They wouldn't let them die. They kept them alive with antibiotics so they could test them. What a fucking scumbag. That is exactly Dr. Fauci and it's still going on. The National Institutes of Health, according to this article, still going on. And by the way, Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Puff on a Dick Combs, is set for an early release from his prison. Oops, someone leaked the data and date revealed. That's right. Fuck it. Let's just let him rape people. It is, Robin, a sick, sick world. Okay. Let's continue. By the way, the Schumer shutdown is causing problems with the Federal Aviation Administration. They're having airports are starting to shut down, starting to get flight delays, staffing issues, and in fact, at the air traffic control school, students are like, "Fuck it, why am I going to take this job? We're not going to get paid because of the Democrats shutting down government because they're demanding our tax dollars go to illegals who run drugs, are terrorists, murder people, rape people, etc., etc." All right. There we go. Okay. Democrat retired federal worker on C-SPAN goes after her own party. Now they're idiots. Let's see. What do we got? Hey, there's Johnny Coathangers in the comments again. Let's see. Bump. President Trump has described the back-to-back U.S. Navy aircraft crashes in the South China Sea as, quote, very unusual. I missed this. While I was gone, apparently, there were Navy aircraft crashing in the South China Sea. Well, yeah, that's unusual. Folks, when I was a jarhead, my whole life until this whole woke DEI crap started, the military, we're talking Coast Guard, Air Force, Navy, Army, Marine Corps, professional, consummate policies, procedures, rules, strict guidelines on everything. This is how you do it. There's one fucking way to do it, and only one way. And now, right, because of Democrats, starting with Obama, firing conservative generals and officers out of the Pentagon and bringing in all communists and promoting communists and then introducing homosexuality as that's fine, open. And then also, Yankee Watchdog says, yeah, it's a jet and a helo. That would be a jet fighter and a helicopter. Okay, that's what crashed in the Navy. There's none of that. All of a sudden, well, over the course of Obama and a couple of decades, they introduced diversity, equity, inclusion, homosexuality, cross-dressing, drag queens, and of course, transgenders, and that the government's going to pay for it, and that they hate conservatives. They hate Republicans. They hate patriots. They wanted to turn the military into a left-wing communist organization. And now that they've been kicked out and told no more of that shit, what did we have? In Washington, D.C., that screwy bitch in the helicopter flew that military helicopter right into a civilian aircraft at the airport. Yeah, we're going to have more of this type of crap. More of this. Yankee Watchdog said the crashes were about 30 minutes apart. Could it have been a DEI, a diversity, equity, and inclusion, fruitcake, left-wing nut job that is trying to fuck up our military and ruin the mission? It's a good chance. Good chance. I hadn't heard about that, though. I missed it. since I got back and have been trying to get my shit together again. Folks, it has been a distinct pleasure. It's been a distinct pleasure to talk to you guys, to be back after my family vacation. And once again, I want to thank Mom. You know who you are and what you did. Thank you for bringing the family in. And I want to thank everyone who has been taking care of the channel through donations, through premium memberships at thepreparedmind.club, for sponsoring the show through PayPal, Venmo, and CashApp. I want to thank everybody for giving me a week off to spend with family, to learn that I have grandchildren coming. Bernard Shreve, thank you, sir. Remember to subscribe on both Prepared Mind channels. Go to YouTube. Type in the search bar, The Prepared Mind channel. You got to write out the word channel. There's two of them there. One has 80,000 subscribers. That's the original. One has 4.9 thousand subscribers. That is the replacement. Be sure to be subscribed to both. Be sure to thumbs up both. Be sure to hit the notification bell. Hit the notification bell, please. The reason is when a video comes up live, and it's not just Sunday Night Live, it happens from time to time, probably going to happen again tomorrow morning. Thank you, Susie Q, who had something nice to say to everybody. Good night to you and awesome people, us, John. I can't read right. Washburn Billy. There's a book that tells us to a T on what to look for. I will not suggest them here because I don't. Okay. Thank you for not disrespecting me for whatever that was about. In any event, you guys have been nothing but respectful, nothing but awesome, fully American, 100%. God bless America. Semper Fi means always faithful, to one, to all, to America. Get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, your plan. Go to thepreparedmind.club and we will help you get prepared. You guys be awesome, be cool, be safe, watch your six. Ooh, man, see you on the Y-Files. Okay, there it is. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Bye-bye. Good night. Thank you.